There's the entrance, and I just walked down this small little path down to the creek. And now as I look southward to the creek, you can see there's one tree in the way. And the creek is low enough that there's a small bed of rocks that leads to a path on the other side. And then we look north, and there's the first fishing spot. This is the southern bench of the two. It's also known as the southern fishing spot here at Heinemann Park. And you can see we've got a big tree down here. And then we'll pan going northward from the same fishing spot. You can see that there's garbage. It's mostly natural garbage, but there's a couple of tires I can see from here. Right here in front of me is one of the trees that's just hanging out over it, and this was the big mess that we had seen with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tires. Right, here's the second park bench. There is a little pathway to get down to the creek, and so I'm going to go take advantage of that since the water's rather low right now. And this is looking southward down the creek. And as I pan, looking westward, and now looking northward, and wow. I'm between where the bench is and where the road is at its narrowest point going northbound into Heinemann Park. But as we go north, you can see there's downed trees all over the place, just debris everywhere. I am in the middle of the creek, not standing in water, but in the middle of the creek nonetheless. There's the water, but I'm looking at about the shallowest point where there's really no shoulder to the roadway. Yeah, now that I'm down in the thick of things, you can really see how much trash, not just tires and actual litter, but limbs, branches, trunks. Now I'm standing on the roadway at its narrowest point. Trash, tires, all kinds of debris to remove out of here as well. And as I start heading back down this way, we really start getting into the thicker stuff. I found a place to climb down. Anyway, I'm looking south right now. I'm at the popular fishing spot, and you can see there's lots of debris here to clear out as well. On the south side of the bridge, it goes over to the golf course. Lots of rocks. Lots of rocks right here. So I'm standing on the concrete bridge, and this side over here is where the canoe launch area that opened up a couple years back is. The park side, there's the golf course side, and look at what I found. Canoe launch. All right. I'm looking at the bridge that connects Heinemann Park to the golf course, and as I pan a little more eastward, you can see there's a bunch of debris. There is lots of just weeds. So I mean, that right there, I can't even get back across to the Heinemann side of the park area. I may go over here to 14 and see if I've got any success at moving my way northward onto the Western Hills course, but otherwise I'll probably just head back into Heinemann Park and go over near basket 7. The white, that is the basketball goal. So I am due north off into the woods. Actually, there's a band of trees that I went through, and now I've cleared the trees, and now it's just a bunch of overgrowth that, well, quite frankly, I'm not going any further than this because there's probably a bunch of snakes down here, so I'm not going any further than this. But you can see that the telephone line, at least 50, 60 feet away from me, and the creek, as I was on the golf course side, was well on the other side of those phone lines. So I'm going to go to the pro tee pad of 7 and venture off into the woods and see if I can't meet up with Fourche Creek a little closer than where I'm at now, because I ain't getting nowhere right here. There's the basket of 6 right there, and so I'm probably even with the amateur pad of 7, and just went straight off into the woods, and I noticed these 3, they kind of look like pier posts. You can see basket 7 far off in the distance. Pro pad is just beyond that raised manhole there. And this here is the first obvious path. That path was a little established path that's quite popular. Goes right down here to the bed, right there where I'm looking at, where all those knees are over there. And I found a couple of shallow spots where I made it over here into a dry spot. And you can see it widens up, and it's actually still on this side of the power lines. So, you know, all that overgrowth that we're seeing here shy of the tree line, just the overgrowth here, there may be another side, little small part of Fourche running over there, and then it looks like it's joining us back behind me, just behind me here. But I'm looking towards the bridge to cross from Heinemann Park over to the golf course. And you can see that there's a little dam right here in front of me. There's a tree laying down right there, all kinds of debris everywhere. And then as I turn, looking towards what would be, I guess, University eventually, you can see there's some more trees down just everywhere. So I'm going to take a couple still shots from here and then take my path back up to the utility trail, and we'll continue down the utility trail and find another place to find the creek and take some more pictures further downstream. Seems like a fairly thin patch of stuff to go through, heading in right off of 3NO36 right into here. My last trek through the woods ended up, well, at a dead end. I couldn't really see anything enough to report on, so I went back out to the utility trail and kept pressing on towards University, and found myself about halfway between the last manhole that I identified and the next one, which I couldn't see the identification marks just yet, and found another shallow spot in the woods. And so I came through up there, really, and then saw what's behind me, came over to here, trekked down, and you can see this is, you know, when the water's much higher, it obviously flows right through here. This, of course, would be an island at some point, but now as I turn around and am heading back towards, say, the Heinemann Golf Bridge, this island ends right here, and you come out on the little body of water here, but it stops right there. Now, it looks like all of this here is blocking my view, and Fourche Creek probably continues on just on the other side south of the bank there, because that there, I believe, is the southern tip of Western Hills, and it will, the waterway will continue on that way. But before I climb down that way and trek on, I wanted to show you where I was at and show you some of the mess that is all over the place down here. So I'm going to take some still pictures right here. I just got through taking pictures from there, looking back towards the Heinemann Golf Course that way, and have perched myself now on top of this island to where I can see on the other side. And you can see there's a bunch of trash there, but yes, Fourche Creek continues that way barely. Some tires, lots of trees, and I mean, it's really pretty down here. I did not get the identifying marks off of that raised manhole, but that's the next one after the last one that I identified. So, here, looking now would be north to northwestward. I'm going to trek off into there just far enough to get some pictures. This is where the two meet up, and just to the north of here is a small little section, and we'll go in there and take more pictures of Fourche Creek. We were last at where the two utility trails met. And just walked a bit further. We passed one other raised manhole. Didn't call off any identifying features there because we didn't think we'd be able to cut through the brush to make it to the creek, but Norm persisted, and we found a way and walked down the side of the embankment that's right there. We're down in it, and we're actually going to try to continue on our travels. This is looking towards the golf course in our community park. And going back this way, this looks like we are going towards University Avenue. Norm and I actually traveled over across Fourche Creek and thought it was going to be a lot easier traveling if we got over to Western Hills. And for the most part it has been, but we had to find a place to jump back into the creek. Going towards University, we are still on the Western Hills golf course side of Fourche Creek, and we've probably gone maybe, 250 feet maybe?
From the last shot.
From the last video clip, and we found a place to kind of jut in here, and fortunately for us, it's at a point that definitely needs a lot of attention. Was standing right up there next to Norm a second ago, but decided to make it down into the creek. And this is looking back towards Heinemann Park and the golf course. And this is looking towards University. And just look at the size of that tree. That's just mammoth.